What is up, everybody? This is Reckoner here to give you a CoH2 shoutcast, this time on the fields of Langrejeska. It's a CoH2 variant of the CoH1 Langra, and the only difference is just this gap down the middle. Anyways, today we have two great players playing on this map. It would be down south, it's Luciano's OKW versus Alexandru's Soviet. Now, Alexandru, as I know, is not his real name. This is actually a Smurf name for Cpt Molo, who's been around the CoH2 scene for a fairly long time. But this time, this version of Cpt Molo, Alexandru, prefers his particular playstyle with Lend Lease, and it's been very tough to counter for all players alike. So we'll see how Luciano deals with this. Let's get this game started at 3, 2, 1, go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is a relatively open map, Langrejeska. It's like the CoH1 variant. It's dictated by this. The line of advance and the territory split is usually dictated by this hedge running down the middle. And it extends to up north and south of the map. So that's usually how the line of advance is dictated. But other players have scooted around. Since there was a hedge down the middle, it leads to an easier access to the cutoff point here. Usually in the regular CoH1 meta, it's usually better for the player down south because they have easier cutoff to that northern strategic point. As you can see, there's almost nothing blocking the line of advance, and you've got clear cover. You've got clear sight lines for MG. So CoH2 tried to even the odds by placing this hole down the middle, so it's easier for people up north to go down south to decap. Either way, let's get to know Alexandru a bit more. Since he likes to go Lend Lease, he doesn't need to actually tech or build anything from his vanilla faction command. That's because Lend Lease has everything you need in order to provide increasingly effective late game units. In mid games, they have early to mid game they've got access to the Dushka. Mid game they have the guard half track, which deploys guards with PPSH, and a half track which could be upgraded to a quad 50 mount. And in late game, we have the venerable M4C Sherman, the Lend Lease Shermans. They're more effective than P4s, and since they're call-in units, as long as you've got the resources, you can call them in at a moment's notice. No need to wait for the production time. So all that aside, even though that it's missing off-map abilities such as artillery or any offensive related abilities such as call-in artilleries, it's still very effective. So all Alexandru is going to do is he's just going to rely on conscripts as his base, as his basic unit. They're versatile. They've got 18 aids, which can counter light vehicles in early game. And they've got Molotovs to force infantry out of houses, even though a flamethrower from engineers could do that as well. Could also flank and force or even finish off MG crews, which is something nice. And by the late game, they get access to repair kits, which basically extend their role as pseudo-engineers, so they could repair damaged vehicles. In this case, it would be best to repair their half-track and even their Shermans. And since all that, the Shermans come out at 10 CPs, Axis units actually have to be worried about, when they come out. So they have to know how many CPs they have, how many CPs their own side has, how many CPs might Alexandru have, the Soviets would have, and they should use it to find out when should they expect those Lend Lease Shermans.
The hard part will be keeping it.
So let's disable the clock 4. So Luciano has been playing pretty normally. He went to the left hand side before pushing out to the right hand side a bit, but the massive conscripts build has been constantly harassing Luciano's territory. Eventually he might push out if he has enough units, especially when he has a Dushka. The Dushka is a souped up Maxim, which deals more damage, has slightly longer range than the Maxim, and has just as fast deployment time and unit survivability as the Maximus as well. So they are a pain to face when you're Axis, especially as OKW, since they don't really have that many options in countering countering extensive MG builds from Soviet players. That's why Luciano got his tier 2 out and he's finished building his ISG. It's probably intended to force conscripts out of cover, or to force any future or to offer a different degree of attack. You always want to have combined arms when facing your foes. You shouldn't have a mainly homogeneous force. Conscripts Octare Uwa, which means 18A by going here. She should recruit, but oh, the Kubel gets hit. This could be the end of the days for Kubel. Oh, he should retreat it even more, but conscripts seem to be distracted by that Sturm Pioneer over there. Sturm Pioneer is retreating. Oh, the Kubel didn't retreat enough. The conscripts are going to go back around, and he might finish it. And that would be the end for the Kubel right there. There it is. It's out of control. So now, after seeing so many conscripts, Luciano is actually going to go for an MG34. It would offer a degree of suppression and would probably neutralize one axis of advance for the for Alexandru's massive conscript force. But the MG34 is rather mediocre suppression compared to other MGs, means that it may not be enough. So he might actually think about another MG, or probably more MP44s on his Volks. Meanwhile, Alexandru has just deployed his Dushka, so that could mean that he's gonna push out for the middle. It certainly does look like that. Looks like one of the conscripts is pushing for the connector. MG34 is not in range to counter this threat. Dushka just set up. It just pinned the Sturm Pioneer. The Sturm Pioneer had to retreat. He's probably going to reposition the Dushka now to cover approaches to the connector right here. MG34 has to retreat back to the house. Conscripts activated but I don't think it's needed. The MG34 was facing the wrong direction, which allowed the conscripts to circle around. Got a shot off. Did not manage to suppress. Another Ura went off. But I think the conscript is now in range to throw that Molotov. That was 2 Molotovs down. MG must retreat in order to avoid getting killed. Dushka had to retreat from the ISG. But overall, Alexandru was managed to keep that connector decapped for quite some time.
Your predecessor died a hero. The sector is at risk.
Crew, prepare for orders.
Luciano has decided to switch over to a Raketenwerfer just in case he's going to see some light vehicles coming out from Alexandru. Who knows if he's ever going to change, if he could do something different this time. It's probably not.
Target secure. Establish defensive line.
Machine gun ready.
So Alexandru has 5 conscripts, 2 flamer engineers, and 1 Dushka. It's a relatively homogeneous force, but at least the conscripts are versatile for most engagements, if not fragile. The flame engineers are getting burned alive. They should retreat if they risk dying. He's down to 2, down to 1, but he's going to leave that place with his life.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Molotov goes out, manages to retreat behind that sandbag, and Volks have to retreat. So it looks like Luciano was trying to push on to the right hand side, but now the conscripts are moving in from the rear,
We now have access to additional
forcing
battlefield
1 to
options.
retreat. He could get caught between these 2 conscripts, could be painful, but he hasn't dropped any models yet.
Not one step back. This is our territory now.
We have these 3 units about to make another push for the middle. MG is once more caught out of position, but we have tier 4 coming up, and he should finish it just in time to counter any attacks towards the middle. But that didn't stop his ISG from getting decrewed by the Dushka. Raketin has to retreat. I don't know if the conscripts are gonna take that ISG. Probably not. Pretty wary about the MG34 that just repositioned, and now tier 4 is up. Now it's going to prevent any further attempts to decap the connector. If he wants to if he's going to deny fuel, Alexandru will have to decap the fuel manually. We have a massive push from MP44s. Oh, and it finishes off a conscript. That was good. Managed to push Alexandru off the field. He loses 1 unit, but I think he might be able to replace it. Conscripts, even vetted, aren't exactly valuable. It's sad, even when they've shown their experience and potential, they're still expendable. So we have 2 ISGs on the field, all dedicated probably to force the Dushka off the field or any conscripts or engineers that are in cover. Alexandru's moving into the right to recap his fuel and struck a sandbag.
The enemy is encroaching on us. The enemy has cut off a
Conscript
sector.
was forced off from the left, allowing Luciano to recap his fuel, but he's actually not going to. Oh, he is going to recap his fuel. Excellent. ISGs are bringing the rain. Oh, but we actually have Alexandru's deployed his M5 half-track with guards, and he's upgraded to the quad 50 mount. Those are going to be as or even more successful at pinning down units than Dushka. They certainly do hurt. And along with it came a squad of PPSH guards. They're going to be murderous at close range. So Luciano doesn't have either one of the fuels. He loses an engineer to the Volks. That's small victories are what count, people. One by one, slowly but surely, we get back onto the battlefield. And that's what Luciano is doing right now. He's at 7 CPs, so he should be thinking about sooner or later he may have to prepare for that that Sherman threat. He's gonna have to make contingencies such as placing mines, maybe getting more Raketen. He is getting one more. But eventually he's gonna need something hardier to counter them. Maybe a Panther. Jagdpanzer might be nice, but they're so easily flanked. Panther would probably be a much more solid voice chance. Ooh, he might lose the Volks. But looks like the guards decide not to engage after passing the hedge. So as we do another fuel check, looks like Luciano was once again failed to get another fuel point. At this point in time, he might be only able to get one Panther by the time the Shermans start rolling in, but I'm not too sure. He does have a Spec Ops commander, so maybe a Command Panther. Not too sure. Raketen opened fire, but not at the M5 half-track. It fired at the engineers for some reason. And which revealed it. M5 probably knows where the Raketen is. Yep. First tried to pursue, but he didn't. Oh no, he could lose the guards. And he loses the guards.
Infantry have made the ultimate sacrifice.
And he loses the conscript as well. That's 2 infantry units down. That's a massive loss for Alexandru. He cannot be affording that kind of loss right now.
A sector has been cut off.
Since he's lost 2 infantry units, that's less infantry to be able to check the advance of Luciano's remaining infantry, which are 3 Volks and a Sturm Pioneer. So now they're gonna have slightly better reign over the battlefield. But the Dushka is still up. He's still going to be able to pin down units. It's now just a matter of the ISGs being in position just in time to force him off or to wipe him out. Half-track is making another push. He's actually going to convert this he's actually going to OP his cutoff point. I don't know if that's a good choice. It's always going to be a center of it's going to be always contested by Luciano, but we don't see him contesting that much this game. So it could be a good choice. He's gonna need it for the fuel. 2 Volks tried to push, but both got pinned by the Dushka and the half-track. Half-track is in trouble. Raketen went off. Don't know if he can clear the building in time. He doesn't. Loses the half-track. Dushka could go down.
Additional resources are now available to your commander.
Hopefully he'll get out of there in time. It looks like he will. So right now, Alexandru has finally hit 10 CPs, and he's gotten his first Sherman out. He still has over 1,000 manpower. He's been floating a lot of manpower, and he has 300 fuels. He's been floating a lot of fuel and a lot of manpower. I could see probably two more Shermans from that street right over there.
We now have access to
I
additional
think he
battlefield
also
options.
deployed his fuel drop, so he might deploy some more. He might deploy more fuel drops to bring the count to 4, but who knows? Second Sherman is up. Oh, I think he's gonna attack with his 2 Shermans now. He's not gonna wait for his 3rd. But I guess he should. I guess he is feeling the pressure. He did lose a lot of infantry. He did lose his half track. If he doesn't attack, he probably thinks that he'll lose his footing. Oh, but he shouldn't have pinned down those Volks. You should have created a situation to lure the Volks towards the demo charge. I don't think that demo charge was detected. But he is constantly pushing up. He is trying to pin. Doom Pioneers are probably going to flank around to flank the Dushka. But that's in range of now 3 Shermans on the field. They'll have to get out there. Shermans are switching around to probably attack those Obersoldaten. They have to be forced off the field. They're getting really low. 2 models are down. I don't know that the Shermans could finish them off on retreat. Down to 1. Raketen shoots. Blazes them. Oh no. It could be the end for the Obersoldaten. He's got to get him out of there. The Volks are moving in. Base flaks are taking rear shots at him. Black. Too fast to go in. Oh, get the Obers out there. Have nothing to counter them. Raketen is now flanking. You could lose one of the Shermans right here. One goes in. Oh, but one of Raketen's gets decrewed. The infantry's just dancing around the HQ, trying to avoid any shots from the Shermans. The Sherman might go down. And the base MG takes it out.
We are suffering vehicle losses.
That's 1 Sherman down. He actually hasn't, besides that, folks, he still hasn't lost an infantry. Oh no, but they're getting crushed by these Shermans. Get the Volks out there. No, he loses the Volks. At least another Sherman goes down. That's 1 left. Alexandru might get a 2nd Sherman out to reinforce this beleaguered Sherman. But the base flak is covering any advance from the right. But now that the base flak is done, he could get the conscripts to go in. Oh, but overthrows the satchel, clears out the captured Raketen. Oh no. But the Sherman wipes out yet another Volks. He's all down to 1 more Volks. That conscript might actually go down as well if he's not careful. He needs to get that Dushka to protect his Sherman from this flanking Volks. 1 more Faust, and that could be it for the Lend Lease. But we've got another Lend Lease Sherman out. It's attacking these ISGs. Dushka manages to pin the Volks, which will probably allow the Lend Lease Sherman to retreat. But now the Dushka is in trouble. It's now in range of the Obers. The Obers are just mowing them down. One after another goes down. ISG's down to 2 guys, down to 1 guy. Don't know if the Raketen will get wiped. No, it didn't. It survived the last shot. Well, the ISG does wipe out the Dushka and destroys the gun. That's not going to be recoupable for Alexandru. Alexandru is deploying another fuel drop. that's the end of that big engagement down at Luciano's base.
At our disposal.
We are ready to go, comrades.
That was a bloodbath. He lost 2 Volks, almost lost his Oba commanders. Not Oba commandos, his Oba
Fresh
Soldaten.
conscripts have arrived.
But yeah, now that Luciano knows that
We own this territory.
Alexandru has his Shermans, he's going to start laying mines. He's laying them down near his base. Very possible that Alexandru might attack there again. But Alexandru might not. He might actually switch his axes of attack. Probably from the
Enemy
right to
forces are
left.
attempting to capture our territory.
But it's always good to lay down mines just to make sure that any further advance down here would not be met with much success as we had previously. Indeed, Alexandru is moving into the left-hand side. He's switching his axes of attack. He's got 2 Shermans up. He's got 4 Volks, but no Dushka this time. Luciano has finally got his a hard AT unit, which is in the form of a Panther. It's not just any Panther; it's actually the Command Panther. So he did pick Spec Ops. If he uses it in conjunction with Mark Target, Raketans, and Spec Ops Panther could make short work of those Shermans if they're not careful. Sherman, meanwhile, is using secured territory to cap that fuel point. He's got a 3rd Sherman out. He might time it in time to flank the Panther. He might be wary of mines, but he hasn't. I don't think he hasn't seen any from Luciano, and it doesn't seem like there was anything planted on this side. Looks like M4Cs are making a move. Only one Raketan's on the field. The other one was retreated. Panther is keeping his front facing the Shermans. That's always the smart thing to do. One of the vetted Sherman was marked by the Panther. It's going to take some additional damage. Volks are in trouble. They might get they might get wiped over here. Oh, they actually managed to make it out of there. So the Shermans are retreating, and the Panther decides to hold off on that attack. Even though that Alexandru's force was heavily damaged, chasing them would probably get 18-aided by one of the conscripts, which would mean a death sentence for the Panther itself. So Alexandru's probably going to use this time to prepare and rearm his Panther for his Shermans. He tried to deploy a fuel drop, but that got shot down at the last moment by the OKW flat guns. So not only was that fuel denied, that was 100 munitions gone to waste. Meanwhile, Luciano is probably going to rebuild his force as well. He's recruited the decrewed Raketen. If he has time, he could start laying down those mines from the Sturm Pioneer. He did lay them on the right side, but right side would also be the right thing to do. Always lay mines where you expect the enemy advance to be. And he is indeed laying down mines on the left-hand side.
We have mine detectors. Now we can walk with confidence.
But it looks like Alexandru also anticipates mines this time, so he gets a minesweeper on one of his newly built engineers, combat engineer squads.
Yes, comrade.
And after bringing that Sherman in, his total Sherman on the field is now up to 4. That's 4 scary Shermans on the hunt, folks. And he's moving back on the left-hand side. So I guess he's seesawing back and forth between left and right, trying to hope to throw Luciano off. Eventually, I don't know if he's actually going to attack the same side again consecutively.
Capturing supply sector.
That might be if the game lasts that long.
300 points stand between us and defeat.
So the Volks have engaged the conscripts here. I don't know if Luciano takes this as a sign that Alexandru's main force is actually on the right-hand side. He does see all the conscripts. That could be a sign for Luciano to start paying attention towards the right-hand side. Doom Pioneers get finished off. Conscript might get finished off here. It does indeed get finished off. Oh, but Shermans are moving in on the extreme right. He's probably trying to outflank the Panther. Panther is starting to move back. I think Luciano sees the bigger picture here. He's moving back to his base. Oh, he detonates the mine with a shot. Oh, but he runs over one of the mine as well, and it was marked. That means more damage. One more hit could kill it. This time the Raketans are in position. M4Cs are moving into the Raketans, but that's probably the bad move here. Unfortunately, that Volks went down, so that means no more. Oh, but he does have another Volks up. One Sherman goes down. This is not a good engagement for Alexandru. He probably should get out there. That Panther is still in relatively good shape. That's 2 and 3 Shermans down. Only 1 Sherman left. I don't know if Alexandru can come back to this. He's lost a lot of armored units. And those Shermans are not cheap to replace, even at this stage. Mark target was used. Sherman is playing the Panthers game right now. One more hit could finish off that Sherman. And it does finish off the Sherman. That's all vehicles down. I think that's game over for Alexandru. He's lost his entire force. And that is game. So there you have it. Even though that as long as you know how to fight those M4C Shermans, as well as be able to fight off those attacks to decap your resources, OKW can actually stand against the Lend Lease Shermans. You just need mines, you need Raketans, and a Command Panther doesn't hurt at all. Faust, mines, and Raketans, they are all crucial in fighting this battle against Lend Lease commanders. So that's our game for today. Thank you all for watching, and hope to see you all next time. As always, Eagle 6 out.